Welcome back, Hop Nation. This is a very, very special episode of the Hop Nation USA podcast. You are listening to the smooth styling of one of your hosts, Adam. With me, of course, is Steve. He is happy to be here, I hope.
No, poker face. I ain't telling.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No snitching.
We don't have anything to snitch about yet.
They don't know that.
That's just a general rule. No snitching.
Well, it's true. You'll get some stitches, and we don't want that. That chortling you hear on mic number 3, of course, is our favorite, at least one of our favorite. We'll give him top 10 guest hosts, Dennis.
Well, what's up, bugaboos?
Started doing that on the Eric McKenna show.
No, I've been doing that for a long time, but I sneak it in.
I'm just saying, you haven't been doing that Cardi B shit on this show
until
just now.
I've done that before Cardi B was Cardi B.
Well, you haven't done it on this show.
I've done that for like the last 10 years. On mic, off mic. It's just this go-to sound that I make.
Okay.
I find it interesting that you're going full hipster on something with Cardi B.
No, Steve brought up Cardi B. I am not Cardi B fan.
I was making trill bird noises way before Cardi B was.
I was weird before it had a name.
It was just called Dennis being weird.
Yeah, I talked to myself. I used to, when I managed a Best Buy, I used to just throw knives in the boxes.
We've talked about that
weird.
for sure.
Yeah, of course. This is, of course, Dennis from First Sip Brew Box.
Yep.
He is using his First Sip Brew Box to post up his microphone so it can get up to his 8-foot frame.
You got to do it, man.
It has another use other than just carrying beard goodies.
It's all about sustainability, gentlemen. Recycle, reuse.
And that fourth voice that you haven't heard yet is our guest for this episode and
The next two.
wow, okay, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, this is officially welcome the people to holiday programming.
Yes,
where we slack off a bit and you're just getting 3 half-hour episodes.
If we wanted to be hacky, we could just call it the Hop Nation Tasters.
Yes, but we won't.
Steve gave you no hope on that one.
Oh, I knew it going in.
He called it hacks, and he knew.
Yeah.
Welcome to your podcast, Tasters. We got little short episodes for you for the holidays.
Super duper.
But yes, to our fourth mic.
Oh, I get to introduce him? Oh, all right. So our fourth mic, of course, here is Ryan. Ryan, say hello to all the beautiful people out there in Hop Nation land.
Hello, beautiful people out there in Hop Nation land.
Ooh, he follows rules.
It's almost like he knows what he's doing. Almost like he understands the rules of podcasting.
Almost like he has his own podcast.
All right.
Almost like we're actually... we didn't talk about this with you, Adam. I'm sorry. But Dennis and I did come up with a name for this block of programming for the holidays.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're calling it the Fueled by Hops Nation USA.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
This is collab crossover territory, and it's actually fueled by hops, but there's a squared in there because Dennis was really insistent on there being a 2 squared.
Gotcha.
He came up with that, but it didn't quite
okay.
work. Yeah.
I thought you meant like...
It's just like an honorary mention.
I thought you meant like an actual square to represent the box.
Well, now we're getting real deep in there.
Yeah, it could be as well.
Yeah, we'll let you in on this, even though you came up with it.
I appreciate you guys.
Ryan, of course, from the Fueled by Hops empire. So that leads to a very important question. Who are you and why are you in my house?
I guess that would be a really important question. You probably want to ask somebody who's sitting at your table.
Adam
here.
doesn't bring this up till you've been here for a very long time. Then he asks you why you're here.
Yeah. No, so I'm Ryan. I'm the founder of Fueled by Hops. We are a very large craft beer nerd community on Facebook. That is where our roots are planted, but they are quickly going in a number of different directions. And I don't really know how to describe it beyond that. But we're basically just a community of beer nerds here on Facebook, and I'm the founder.
Right on. I like media empire.
I do like that. I'm going to keep
That's
that.
pretty cool.
Yes.
Or you can toss in a federation in there if you want to.
Federation.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Star Trekky.
I like Empire.
Depends on how... I guess that's a real... Are you a Star Wars fan versus Star Trek fan?
Right, true.
Star Trek fans would call it a Federation. Star Wars fans will go Empire.
Oh, I'm torn.
Man.
And the
enjoy
fans
both.
of Battlestar Galactica get nothing.
Right.
It's probably because they're still living at home.
In the basement.
They don't get a vote.
How about I'll enjoy Babylon 5?
I want an episode where you do that voice the entire time.
Yes.
No,
that
you
is
can't.
fantastic.
It's too much.
Is that before or after the Andre episode?
Oh no, that was
Yes.
fun.
Well, so Ryan, we're going to sit down and we'll talk with you throughout the episode, and maybe we'll help you better define what this all is and everything that you're doing with Fueled by Hops. But before that, we're going to get into a beer
Absolutely.
because it's a beer podcast.
It's a beer podcast. We're sitting around, we're talking beer, so of course we have to drink beer. And since this is a Christmas themed episode, I guess you could say, end of year
Holiday programming.
holiday programming.
programming.
Thank you. Save my bacon on that one. We're going with one of the classics here in the Pittsburgh and Great Lakes region. We are going to be trying simply because we haven't had this on the show. I'll guarantee you everybody on this show has had this one before, but you may have not, so strap in and enjoy. This is the Fatheads Holly Jolly Christmas Ale. This is an absolute staple for the craft beer folk here in Pittsburgh and Cleveland and
Rust Belt.
the Rust
Yeah,
Belt.
Rust Belt.
That's a perfect way of putting it.
Rust Belt drinking.
It is Rust Belt drinking.
Pants are optional.
That's
Where
every
did
beer,
that come
Dennis.
from?
Rust Belt, we're like country folk.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Like you drink beer on a lawn chair. How do you guys do your summers?
Wait a minute. This is opening up a whole lot of questions.
Told you, I got like 4 friends, man.
Well,
Of them are at this table.
I'm sorry, Dennis. We're going to have to move on from this line of thinking.
we're going to come back to that after the mics are turned
Yeah.
off.
I understand what you're getting at in the fact that there's a lot of people in the Rust Belt, in the country areas, that can sit in lawn chairs without pants.
Yes.
I follow all that.
Yes.
But we're talking Christmas beer. So.
Yeah, come on, man. Just some quick numbers for you. And there are some conflicting information. According to the bottle, this is 7.4% ABV. According to the website, it is 7.5.
Oh, Jesus.
Depending on
So-
the day.
Can't do it.
So if your limit is 7.5, just read the bottle. You'll be fine. It'll be okay. 28 IBUs. Hops are Mount Hood and Crystal. They say it is a rosy red color. It's just a good drinker. Everybody knows it. Let's get in on it.
All right. Well, this beer's poured up, and looking at it, it looks like a Christmas ale.
It does. It's got that nice, deep caramel color to it.
Yep.
Not much in the way of head.
No, not really. A little
kinda-
bit of a red tinge to it, and
I'm not surprised by that.
looks like Crimbus.
It smells like it too.
It smells phenomenal.
It does.
Like super spiced up.
Yeah.
Don't ask me what spices they use because I don't know.
Nutmeg and cinnamon. It's
Yeah.
all cloves sometimes.
It's like
I've
there's a standard to this.
I've been told by reliable sources that there's nutmeg and cinnamon and what was the other one you said,
Gotta be
Steve?
honey in there too.
Cloves
And
sometimes.
cloves sometimes.
Clothes sometimes.
Sweet malt,
Cloves sometimes.
ginger. Ryan gets one on honey,
Ding ding.
cinnamon spice. I get one. Nothing about nutmeg or clove, but whatever.
I think that's in like every Christmas beer.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm pretty sure
Like-
that's a
like-
They
requirement.
don't even put it on
If you
there.
throw that out there, like you got like a 50-50 shot.
Ooh. Took it, drank it, like it.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, Adam, I'm pretty sure everybody at the table has already had it before.
Oh, yeah.
But this is good for, again, we're always trying to help people who are just coming into drinking.
Yes.
And there's bound to be somebody with a November 29th birthday that they just turned 21.
Or perhaps they're listening out in California or down in Texas or something like
Right,
that.
and they're
where
visiting
Fatheads-
home for the holidays.
Yes. And
true.
they see it and they're like, I heard good things about that good podcast.
Yeah, somebody has new fucking in-laws that they have to visit this year.
Yes,
and
it's
they
true.
need to know what's good out here.
So for that, you can thank us later.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. And you can thank us by buying t-shirts
At
at
TeePublic.
tpublic.com, keyword Hop Nation USA.
Sliding it in there. I love it.
Look, we have to get ours in because I'm sure we're going to be promoting some First Sip later.
Oh, without a doubt.
And then Ryan has a bunch of things to sell as well, so we got to get ours in
That's
quick.
right. Get in early.
Get your debit cards out.
Support this group of degenerates.
Yes.
Yes.
Help.
We're all poor.
Help.
So, yeah, just to jump into it, though, Ryan, you are the founding father. Is that what you want to call yourself?
I don't know if I'd call
Vader?
myself the founding father, but I've just been
Vader?
rolling with founder. But now that we've dumped this empire term on me, my head's starting to spin now. I think
Chancellor? Do you like that?
Ooh.
That's not bad.
Might have to roll with that one.
Yeah.
Might have to roll with that one.
I mean, you're definitely up to no good,
Right.
though.
So,
Definitely.
Chancellor of Fueled by Hops. Well, why don't you tell us how you got started? You know, there was a lot of Facebook communities centered around craft beer, but yours doesn't suck. So how did you get started, and how did you make it not suck?
So you want the truth, or
Yes.
do you want the cool story?
Both.
All right, so we'll give you the truth first. To be honest, I was on my kitchen, or not my kitchen. I was in my living room. I was at my coffee table, and I had just gotten back from, I can't remember what brewery it was. I want to say it was Allegheny City, to be honest.
Little ACB action.
Yeah, because it was in the winter, and we take the dogs there. So I got back. I cracked open, I believe it was a B.A. Woke from Hitchhiker, and which is a pretty heavy beer. I don't know if you guys have had one.
Yes.
So I was pretty drunk at my coffee table. What's this to say? I was feeling pretty good. And I said, you know what? I bet I have friends that are doing the same exact thing right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Why don't we start a Facebook group and we can all talk about doing the same exact thing? So I started a group and I called it the Uniontown Morgantown Beer Nerds.
All right.
Which makes no sense because I'm not from Uniontown or Morgantown.
To be fair, you were doing this as you were drunk at your coffee table.
Right.
So that's fine.
Exactly.
That BA Woke did a number on you.
It did do a number on me. So we found it up. This was like March. It was a couple days after Juicy Brews, the March Juicy Brews event was when we kind of fired up. And so I fired it up. I was like, you know what, let me bring in some of my friends. So I added in like all three of my friends, you know, and it totaled 8 people because like I knew like my friends had a couple friends that would be interested in this. So we started with 8 members, and 2 of them lived in Uniontown or Morgantown. So it literally made absolutely no sense why we did this. But at the time I was thinking like regional. There was the Pittsburgh Craft Beer Nerds, which is a group that I love. There's the Pittsburgh Craft Beer Society, rather, I should say. Sorry, Aaron, if you're listening. The Erie Beer Nerds is the one that I was going with. So I was like, you know what? We need like a regional thing for like down south because that's where my roots are kind of at. I'm in Pittsburgh now, but I was like, we need a beer group down there. And then we just like added in a few more people, and then a few more people, and then a few more people. And I think I met Dennis when we had what,
few hundred?
Yeah, maybe like 200.
I don't remember. I don't even remember how that conversation got started, like how we met.
I don't even know either.
One thing led to another, and we were drinking at Southern Tier.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it works. But yeah, so that's kind of the truth of how it all started, you know?
Nice.
It just sort of happened. And then along the way, we finally realized, like, hey, we're not a regional beer group. Because we have people in like California and like New York, like people all over. We were like, hey, we got to change the name. Like, you're not, like, nobody's from Uniontown in this thing. So I'm from Bell Vernon. Actually, it's originally where I'm from. And I graduated like in the early 2000s. And if you're familiar with Bell Vernon in the early 2000s, you would be familiar with a band called Punchline.
Yep.
And Punchline is like a punk band. Those guys are a couple years older than me. They were on a record label called Fueled by Ramen.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I get it now.
I love that name. I thought it was so cool. So when we were like coming up with what's our new name going to be, it was literally an 8-second thought. Fueled by Hops.
Right on.
Boom.
Went with the gut. I like it.
It was just the first one that hit us, and we ran with it. Everybody loved it, and it just kind of grew from there. So it's been exceptional.
Right on.
Yeah. I think I joined like right before you guys were cresting 1,000 members.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I'm not saying I was in early or anything, but I was in enough early to see like, oh, these guys have people from all over. Mm-hmm. And like that's what interested me because it wasn't like a lot of the other craft beer groups that I joined to promote the podcast.
That was a personal.
Yeah, I just joined. Well, I think Dennis actually invited me.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because it was right around 800 or so members. Because you remember that
700
day.
members. It was 700 members.
You remember that day?
I was trying to break 700.
You were like, "Hey, man, can you invite like some of your people?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "This is fun!" Like just watching like people join. So I just kept inviting people. And you were like, "Can we get to 800 or whatever by the end of tomorrow?" I was like, "You're already there!" And it was just fun.
But what I like about your community though is that you I don't know. It seems like it's cultivated pretty well. That people are more respectful in a way, and it's just not as boring.
Right.
Like, there's so many craft beer groups, and if I see the fucking post, is this still good to drink, or is this okay to cellar? One more time, I'm going to blow my brains out.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
But yours has like real engagement of like people like talking with each other and like letting people know about releases and all that kind of thing. So like I like yours better.
Sure. And I think a lot of the reason why that is because we started, when we started, our engagement was off the hook. And I think that was one of the first things that you said, Dennis, when we first met, was like, okay, you guys only have a few members, but like my phone's blowing up, it's going crazy. Your engagement is nuts. So even with our 1,300 members that we have today, I think I just checked the numbers. We had like 15,000 posts last month.
Holy shit.
It's insane.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's insanity. And I think it was like 15.9, to be honest. I could check it on my phone, but I'm waiting for it to like hit 20 just to get up there. But a lot of that is because I think we started with the beer second and the community first. And I'm really big about the culture of craft beer. Like that's really where I think, that's where I go back to. Like I don't start with the beer. I start with the culture, the meeting new people, the meeting new friends, the helping you get a hold of a beer you want to get your hands on, or just showing people new stuff. Like I'm about that piece of it. The beer to me is second. And I think that's the difference between our group and every other group. Like you're not going to roll in our group, post a Fatheads Holly Jolly, and everybody beat you up like, oh, you're posting a shelfie. Like it's not like that in our group, And we do a good job of weeding that stuff out. We have, the other piece of it is we have 9 admins in our group and 1,300 members. So we have a lot of people watching and looking over, but really kind of cultivating that community aspect. Like when somebody gets engaged, we all cheers them, you know what I mean? When it's somebody's birthday, we make that a big deal. We do giveaways. We support one another, you know what I mean? We just have built that community piece to it, as opposed to, that your glass is dirty, dirty glass mafia in the house.
Dirty glass mafia.
Yeah. Like we don't do any of that. We don't allow trading either. We don't allow selling, keep at in other groups. Like we are literally the place for craft beer nerds to meet and interact. And that's what we want to be. And we do a lot of stuff outside of the group too, which helps, build relationships. We do a lot of shares. We have the festivals coming up. So that helps that piece of it because, people are more likely to talk shit on Facebook, but when you're in person, it's a different story.
You have to look somebody in the eye.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And if you meet that person in person,
call my glass dirty.
Yeah,
but if you meet that person in person, to reiterate that shitty sentence again, you're less likely to say something shitty to them later on. As
but
well.
if you do it, you just got balls.
Right. Like I said, I like that part of it. You have started featuring giveaways as well as like merch, which is something that I've also seen on the Pittsburgh Craft Beer Society. Like they have t-shirts and glasses. How did you kind of get started with that and like designs it for what you get away?
Yeah. So also another drunken idea. So my brother-in-law Joe, who lives in New York, I'd love to have him here because he's hilarious. He's like the funniest person on earth. We don't talk to each other like normal brother-in-laws talk to each other. We specifically talk in either Dave Chappelle references or Wu-Tang references.
Okay.
That is it. It's really, really odd, but it's hilarious at the same time. So like we're always sending like Chappelle show stuff back and forth. So we had this idea one day, like after we first got started, because like Fueled by Hops is a business, right? Like we needed money. And we were doing giveaways. And it's like, oh, we have to pay to like ship this stuff. Like this stuff costs money and it's coming out of my pocket. So we were like, well, let's do a glass. And I had the idea at the time to do a Chappelle show themed glass because nobody's ever done it before. So we did it and we put it out, and it wasn't meant to go beyond that. It was just meant to be, y'all got any more of them hops?
Yeah.
And then next thing I knew, like, we posted it up in some groups. I'd had no idea what I was doing. I ordered way too many glasses. I ordered double of what we ordered now. We had like 100 members back then. So I needed to like push them out because I had way too many of them. So I pushed them into the beer groups because that's the people that are going to go buy them, and it caught fire. And from that point, it was like, okay, what's next? You know, and everybody just started demanding more and more and more. So we just kept doing more and more.
So almost by accident.
It was completely by accident.
You grew your community,
right?
Because you fucked up on the ordering thing.
Well, I'm like,
pretty good.
As every entrepreneur ever. It's just
when you're
Failed successfully.
When you buy these glasses, like they give you a breakdown. Like if you order 72 of them, it's this price. If you order 144, it's this price. And I'm like, well, I can get like 60 cents cheaper on a glass if I order 144 of them. And then they all show up at your house, and your wife's like, what are you going to do with all these glasses? And you put them out in your group of 100 people, and you sell like 20 of them. You're like, I don't know, I got to get creative real quick.
Good thing Glassware doesn't spoil. So
It does not spoil. It does not spoil. So yeah, almost by accident, we grew a following on our Glassware. And ever since then, it's just been like, who's the next character? Who's the next character? We just kept rolling with it.
That's great, though. Failing up is, everybody loves that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So speaking of growing, podcast. I understand you guys have gotten into the podcast side of things. How did that come to be?
Man, I don't even know on that one, to be honest with you, but
sounds familiar.
Yeah. Podcasting just happens. You ever notice that? Like, you just have an idea for a podcast and it just kind of comes about. But our podcast actually launched probably about 4 months after we did as a group. And what we were finding was we were like finding all these breweries that had really cool stories. And we live in this untapped world now, which I hate. I mean, I use Untapped a little bit, but I hate Untapped at the same time because Untapped doesn't tell you the story of the brewery, right? It just tells you, here's the beer and here's what some guy who barely drinks beer thinks about it. But I was like, I'm good friends with Dave Barb from 4 Points. Like, he and I are like buddies from way back. Like, I know how much work he put into that place to get it going. And I'm like, that's a really cool story. Like, he had a barbecue joint and, he built it up and, eventually bought the building next to him, turned it into a brewery. And I was like, man, there's so many stories like that out there. And I eventually found Hightower Brewing. They were the first guest on our podcast. Now, I lied to them and told them they weren't the first guest, so they would let me come do it. Sorry, Greg, if you're listening. But no, I was like, here's this brewery in the middle of the country.
Oh, yeah, like Goat Path.
Like, literally, like, straight up, like cows walking past you type stuff. It's in the guy's front yard. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful building. He and his wife are the only employees.
No
and
shit.
They're pumping out amazing beers. Yeah, his wife runs the front, he runs the back, and they pump out these amazing beers. And like, that's a story that started in his garage. Like, he started brewing in his garage, like inviting people to come, like, drink his beer in his garage, and then it built up into what it is today. And I'm like, they put everything on the line. Like, everything is on the line to make this thing happen. That's an amazing story. Like, there's so many of them out there. And I was like, we need to tell those stories because who else is? So that's where the idea for Behind the Hops came to be.
Right on.
Let's go around. Let's tell those stories that nobody else is telling. What's the story behind that Untapped rating? Like, Leaning Cask, it was just one of the most recent guests that we did. Like, they're telling me the story of like gutting the building and like starting from scratch, and the floors are original, and like, it's crazy. People don't see all that hard work that went into that place. You know what I mean? So we wanted to tell that. That's what we did.
Right on.
Behind the Hops.
Behind the Hops, man.
I like it.
Yeah. We've definitely taken similar approach as well with our show and featuring like Lincoln Avenue. And, we were sitting when it was still dust on the floor. But, that's what we wanted to do. We want the brewers in our area, and eventually if we ever start traveling more, to, tell their story, because it's an interesting setup for a business.
Absolutely.
It's also why we brought Dennis on, why we've had Jamal on from 412 Barbecue, because there's tangential stories
Right.
that are related to beer, and it's like, well, how did this come about from not being a brewery, but you're something else attached?
Sure.
So
And the other thing is, when you look back at those stories that you've heard and talked, like if you've talked to the brewery, 2-3 years ago, and then you get to see their story continue, and you get to see their
amazing,
business and
right?
their brewery build and grow and become this, whole entity that it wasn't 3 years ago.
Sure.
When it was just a dream, or it was just starting out, or they're fighting through the government red tape to get to that spot where they can start.
Yep.
And it's amazing just to see how everything grows and the community that grows with it.
Yep. Absolutely. I agree.
100.
100.
3 100s and a fire.
Nice.
Oh, God. Are you becoming somebody who's going to create their own app?
I'm speaking in emojis. That's how I roll.
Oh, I'm old.
I've taken it so full circle now that I don't use emojis. I just speak in emojis.
Nice. Nice.
Adam just got a TV without an antenna, Steve. You got to take
I
baby
understand.
steps.
I get it. I understand my old robot from Earth 2.
Y'all a bunch of assholes.
Stop being an old robot from Earth 2.
The files are in the computer.
So with your growth, you've grown to the point now that Fueled by Hops is actually getting their own beer fest.
Yes. Multiple.
Multiple beer
Multiple.
fests?
Oh.
Yeah. We just announced the second one.
Okay.
So, yes, we are doing our first beer festival March the 14th of 2020. And we are going to be at Spirit in Lawrenceville. Super excited about it. And then we just announced our second festival, which is going to be October the 3rd. We're going to be at a top secret location in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So then we also have a third one in the mix.
Damn.
It's going to be a top secret location at a top secret location. So
At a top secret time
at a top secret time.
with top secret breweries.
It is not a top secret date because we do not have a date yet.
Fair enough.
So
Is it going to be so secret where it just ends up that you're back at your kitchen table drinking BA Woke? You just go full circle?
full circle.
One guest, one beer.
You're like, damn it, I'm drunk again at my coffee table.
How does this keep happening? No,
I've had those beer fests before.
those are great. I had one Sunday actually myself. And actually, I had one Thanksgiving Eve also. I was supposed to
I think
actually.
everybody had one.
Yeah.
No, I had it at my coffee table though.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happens there. Supposed to go out with a couple guys, one of which is Jim from Marino's in Greensburg. I know he's listening here. And he texted me the next day. He was like, sorry, I didn't go out, man. And I'm like, no, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea. It's not your fault. It worked out better.
Failed successfully again.
But no, it will not be a top secret for very long because beer festivals cost a lot of money to put on.
No,
So
without
right.
doubt.
we will definitely let everybody know. You know what I mean?
So, what can people expect from the one at Spirit, though? Since that's the most fully formed one to this point.
Yeah, we're super excited about that one. What I tell people is I don't really look at this like a beer festival. I look at this as a gathering. And this is kind of, for lack of better terms, this is our gathering of the juggalos.
He got to it before I could make the joke. It was just like sitting in my head. I'm like,
knew it.
He said gathering, and I'm going to say juggalos at some point.
So this is going to be our big gathering, if you will, where we can bring all the breweries that have been on our podcast or are part of our community, bring them in, and then the people that have been interacting with them in our group that have been listening to them on a podcast can come actually drink those beers that we've been talking about, meet that brewer, shake his hand, all that good stuff. So there are going to be a few breweries that are coming in that haven't been part of the podcast. And I'm sure we're going to sell tickets to people who aren't necessarily part of the community, but for the most part, it's going to be kind of like that community gathering
Right on.
aspect. So as opposed to just being another beer festival, like you're going to be able to, be walking down and see this guy that you've been,
You've heard his story before, and yeah.
Right.
Right. Or some other member that, you saw has been posting a bunch of stuff and, get to meet them and finally shake their hands and talk to them in person. So that's what is the most excited to me, is just kind of bringing the community together. But on top of that, like, we're trying to use Fueled by Hops to be a catalyst for good. And we are raising money for a nonprofit called the Laundry Project.
Okay.
Okay. What is the Laundry Project? I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, so there's a great tie-in here, which I'll get to. But the Laundry Project is a nonprofit. It's based in Florida.
Okay.
And what they do is they help underprivileged people get access to clean laundry.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a really big thing that we don't even think about. But I guess there's a ton of people out there who just can't afford to wash their clothes. So what they do is they help them, get access to the money and the resources to actually wash their clothes. So
that's awesome.
It's a really awesome nonprofit. And we linked up with Billy Mays III.
Okay.
The son of the famous pitchman, Billy Mays.
Oh,
Right
yeah.
on.
Pittsburgh native.
Of McKees Rocks.
There you go.
The pride of McKees Rocks. We linked up with his son, Billy Mays III, who's part of our community, and we had an idea of doing a glass themed after Billy Mays.
Okay.
And I thought that was just a really cool thing to do. And I was like, okay, we originally were going to release the glass back in November, but then we were like, wait, there's more that we can do with this. But
wait, there's more.
I didn't even catch that.
That was so good, and I didn't catch that. Oh, that was so good. Wow. But yeah, so we were like, there's a lot more that we can do with this glass. So let's talk to Billy and see. And in the meantime of talking to Billy and hearing about this nonprofit, we got to talking with Kenny from Hops², who wanted to jump in the mix. So needless to say, now there's going to be a Billy Mays glass there, supported by us, Billy the Third, and Hops². So the three of us have collabed on it.
That's
to put it
badass.
out there. And we're going to donate a portion of the profits back to the laundry project with the goal of actually launching a Pittsburgh initiative based on the profits of our glass.
Oh, right.
I like that. Okay.
That's cool.
So we're really super excited
Hell
about
yeah.
that one. And Billy's going to do a musical performance too. He's actually a musician, so
Oh,
he's going
okay.
to
I
come
didn't
up
know
and
that.
do a set for us too. So
Cool.
yeah, so it's going to be cool. It's going to be a fun time.
Right on.
All right.
And tickets are on sale now?
Tickets are on sale now. It is fueledbyhops.com/FieldFest412. You can go on there and see all the tickets that we still have available. We're sold out of some of the levels, but I know there's still GAs and early admissions available.
Right on.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, I'm gonna have to go get my ticket right after we're done. So let's start wrapping this up, so I can get my ticket. Let's do a quick review on the Holly Jolly here that we had. I don't really think we have to say that much.
It's classic.
It's classic. It's good. It's fantastic.
Clean,
Ryan,
not too overdone.
thoughts?
I think it's great. It's clean. It's crisp. It's not too overdone. I can really see myself sitting around on Christmas Day drinking a couple with the family.
Hell yeah.
This is what you get into before you really get into the shit.
This is the one you drink before dinner.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's not a bad Christmas Day shower beer.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting ready to travel,
Yeah,
it's not bad.
I'll
yeah.
definitely dig into that.
You shower on Christmas Day?
I try to shower as much as I can
Dep-
because sometimes I just forget.
You have all that hair on your face. You just have to
Got to do it. Yeah. No, I just shake it out. Kick the birds out.
shake it up.
He's got to shake the cookies out from the last.
Yeah. Oh no, I keep those in there. Those are for later.
No, you don't just shake it out onto a plate. That way you can collect them.
No, that's gross.
You would think so.
I have a line, Adam.
Convenience.
Sometimes it gets blurred.
Oh, the plate, it was too much?
Yeah. Jesus.
Because then he's dirtying a plate.
Who do you think I wash that plate? I work from home. I got to wash that plate.
What do you mean?
See me washing it.
I'd say Porter will do it. Sure, look at that plate. Make sure you-
She would. I was not going to make the joke that my dog eats my beard crumbs. Jesus.
Well, guess what? Here we are.
Those are private moments, Adam.
Private moments.
Private moments.
Shit. All right. I think we're done making fun of Dennis here.
Yeah.
That's how
so
we
now
roll.
we're done making fun of him. He can promote something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got going on for the holidays?
Well, just check us out, firsthitbrewbox.com. We're actually in the process right now of getting our super cool holiday shirts printed. Really nice design. And some of the breweries that we worked with on it is 412 Brewery in McKees Rocks in the North Shore or north side of Pittsburgh, and Couch Brewery. So it's going to be a pretty dope shirt. Check it out.
Right on. And Ryan, why don't you give final plugs for everywhere people can find Fueled by Hops?
Absolutely. So if you want to join our community, it's fueledbyhops.com/join, or you can check us out on Instagram, fueledbyhops_ or Twitter @fueledbyhops, I believe.
Right on. I say join up. It's a lot better group than some of the other ones that are just bust on you for having a dirty glass or asking constantly
like where to get a
does
beer.
does this IPA keep? It's like no, it doesn't.
Just
unless
drink
it's
it.
120.
What are you doing? Just drink it.
Stop asking the same basic ass questions.
Like a great resource to check? GOOGLE. It
Yeah.
will tell you what you need to know. Don't waste our time.
Yeah, stop getting in arguments with people on the internet.
Yes.
Just go look it up for
Yes,
yourself.
it's terrible.
But yeah, join Fueled by Hops. They got a lot of good things going on there. But you can find us on social media if you search Hop Nation USA, and to get you Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We don't do a lot on our Facebook. We don't communitize like that because I don't want to fucking sort through the posts. I'll be straight up front about that one. Follow us on Twitter. I'm funny on there. If you want to listen to brand new episodes of the Hop Nation USA podcast every Friday, as you should, then search Hop Nation USA on your favorite podcatcher like Stitcher, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Boxcast, Giftcast, Christmascast,
Wow.
SantaCast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. Did you say
it's all there.
Spotify?
Probably, maybe.
Okay, cool. Spotify.
Spotify.
I really got to talk to my
Laughable.
editor.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm on all those places.
you got to check. You got to just sort through it all.
Actually, I think there's a few that kind of just picked us up without asking, or just sort
Oh
of.
yeah,
hey,
a lot
you
of
guys
them
aren't
will
gonna
just grab you.
no.
A lot of them will just grab you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're on all those, and if you're on any of those platforms, leave a 5-star review because
We are a 6-star show, but they only let us use 5.
and that's a bigger crime than us jipping you on the amount of time we're doing for the holidays. Welcome to your half-hour episodes. But yes, we will be back next week, and we'll be talking best and worst in beer for 2019, and it's the decade if we can fucking remember it.
We won't.
But yes, it'll be me, Adam, Ryan, and Dennis right here with you through the holiday season and your travels.
Book it. Done.